Hi, I'm Ginny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here with Karen Tasto to talk with her about her article in the July-August issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. Karen, before we dive into our conversation, what would you like our viewers to know about you?
Well, am Karen Tasto, and my business is Open Heart Healing, and I help women become more joyous, whole, and free. And I do that with through life coaching, and I also gather women in sisterhood in circles. So, yes.
Well, your article, you've written a lot of articles for us. Let me just say that. So you can go to our archives on the magazine page, which the link to the magazine is in the text of this video. Go and look at I bet you have an article in there like every other month or every third issue,
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
You have a
Yeah.
lot. So Karen really gives us some great stuff. So go check that out. But this issue you wrote about transforming negative thinking, a compassionate approach. And I don't remember whether you sent this out in a blog or whether
I
you and I were talking about it, but I so resonated with it because I've felt like this for a long time and for a number of reasons. But you wrote about how you had gone to an in-person networking group and they had some breakout tables and something happened there that got you thinking about it even more. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, the breakout rooms we were in at our tables. It was in person. Was about the topic was handling stress. How do we handle stress and anxiety in our businesses and our lives? And so that at my table, it turned to you know, what do we do with negative thoughts? And so it started with, some of the comments were, that I just changed them, into positive ones, and I repeat those over and over, and that helps, and that's beautiful. And so it kind of elaborated from there. Others were along the same lines of that, and I the work I do, and I just I honor all of their perspectives and experiences and what works for them. Everything works differently for each person, and so I totally honor that. And that did used to work for me to a certain degree until I got deeper along my consciousness journey and realized that it was helpful, but at the same time it was felt, as I started to become more aware, it was feeling more harmful.
Mm.
Yeah, it felt that there were pieces of me, parts of me that were being disregarded in just jumping right from a negative thought or belief into a positive one. I knew that there was, now I know, and back then a part of, part of me knew there was something in between there
Mhm.
that needed to be implemented and practiced and examined.
As I said, I resonated with that, not looking at it exactly the way you were looking at it, but I remember, in the early days of my transformative journey, goes way back. I remember, learning about positive affirmations, and I remember doing them, and I remember, almost like pretending. I was pretending that things weren't what they were.
Mhm.
And somehow if I could just change my mind, because, change your thinking, change your life was a big deal in the early days. And it's true. You can change your thinking and change your life. However, what I came to understand, and I want to see what your experience has been, is that if all I do is kind of just start trying to think positive things, whatever is going on there is going to come back at me. It's going to show up, it's going to rear its beautiful head, and it's going to continue to get in my way because nothing has been healed. It's only been kind of prettied over, like put a little pretty package around it or something. So, what was your experience of that, and how did you start to shift it?
I first of all, I can totally relate to what you were saying. that when they're not addressed, they can come out, through the back door and, in crazy ways.
In the most
Can trigger.
inopportune moments sometimes as well.
Right,
A little
right.
trigger here, a little trigger there, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Um, what got me? It wasn't, I can't name one instance or,
Mm.
that turning point. It was a rather gradual journey of awareness, increased awareness. And what I believe what happened was as I was starting to honor myself more and all the different parts of me and aspects of me, just becoming more aware of what was kind of lingering, in the dark, in the shadows. It just kind of happened. I started to have more kindness towards myself, more compassion. So that, and that's really key, I feel. As we become more friendly to ourselves, what my meditation teacher calls it friendly kindness towards ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah, as we cultivate that more, it allows, we have the capacity, right, to then look at those unsavory parts, at those beliefs that, maybe aren't true anymore,
Mhm.
but need some tender care. They need some understanding. They need, those beliefs are held by us, and those parts of us need to be cared for and seen and brought to a greater understanding. So I feel like as our capacity, I'll say, for that friendly kindness grows, we have more capacity to hold and nurture these, not these unsavory thoughts and beliefs,
Mhm.
unhelpful beliefs.
And when we're not pushing things away,
Yes.
we can kind of integrate them
Yeah.
into who we are because they're part of who we are already, but we can,
Yeah.
embrace them because I've come to
Exactly.
learn too that the more we pull those things in, the less they will show up later because we're not pushing them away. It's that beautiful shadow side of ourselves, as some people
Hmm.
call it, that says there's something wrong with that part of me.
Yeah.
And you write in your article about the self-acceptance piece that might be missing if we're constantly looking at, I have to change this. Oh, I
Hmm.
thought I had figured. I don't know if you had this experience. In the early days, I would think, I got that thing solved, man. I am not going
Yeah.
to ever have
I'm
that issue
done.
again. And then somebody would come along and say a little something a little harsher or a little meaner. And I would just go, oh, I can't believe you're reacting this way. I thought you, talking to myself, had solved that, had gotten over that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I hadn't, apparently. And so
Yeah.
your approach is so friendly. What is it? Friendly acceptance? Is that what you said?
Friendly kindness.
Friendly kindness.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Instead
is.
of loving kindness, which is
Mhm.
called meta,
Right.
METTA, self-love, loving can feel, to many, pretty weighted. It has a
Mhm.
lot of baggage. So I just love that. I'm trying to use that more in my
I
language.
like that too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you
And what you were speaking to, Jenny, in on my path, one of my, just as an example, was one of the beliefs is that I'm not capable of doing, especially of doing hard things. And so that would come out like with my husband, like he would, you know, if he even like for a moment, if I even caught anything from him, and I thought I was like, oh yeah, I know I'm capable. I know I'm capable, I jumped right into it. But if he would make any little slightest remark unintentionally, like, you know, got so triggered. And yeah, so that example just
yeah.
is, yeah.
When you were talking earlier, I was taken back to my corporate years. And there was a man who was the president of the place where I was working, and he was in a different place, but he would come in about once a month and he would show up and he would just blow the place up in this with all this positive energy. How are you doing? Oh, I couldn't be better. I am fantastic. And it was overwhelming to me. And I hadn't really begun to work on myself at all, but I thought, how is he really that happy? And I did the first time it happened, I thought, wow, this is interesting, but I'm not sure I trust it. And then a little bit later, we would hear him in somebody's office, like cursing them out and screaming at them.
Oh,
And so I started to look at that a little bit different. It was like, well, I guess you can pretend, but the truth always comes out. I know it was Wayne Dyer who said, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out is what's inside, which is orange juice. And the same thing happens when you squeeze a person. What comes out is what's in there. So that's why you erupt at your husband.
yeah,
I really believe we come together in these relationships to heal because I tell
yeah,
you, my husband pushed every single button I had in the first 6 months of our marriage, of our dating, really. And I would just come out fighting about it, not even understanding what was going on. So I love your emphasis on the friendly kindness and just being good to ourselves and acknowledging that there's nothing wrong with us, that we shouldn't be anywhere but where we are in
yeah,
our healing journey. But
yeah,
it's so easy
yeah.
to
That
compare.
acceptance
Yeah,
is huge.
yeah.
Yeah, that acceptance and feeling too,
Hmm.
whatever there's emotion under the belief or thought, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
allowing the space to be in that, to feel it, which can be really hard. And there can be a lot of resistance to that
There
because we're
is. There
human.
is. Yeah. You know, you didn't use this term, but there's been a lot of writing over the last few years about toxic positivity.
Hmm.
And I think that's really what you're talking about,
Yeah,
not using the
exactly.
toxic word. And
Yeah.
there's another phrase that I like more than that, and it's called spiritual bypassing.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with that
Oh,
term?
yes.
Where we just kind of go, okay, I'm fix this. I'm gonna move on now. I'm gonna go down the path. And we just don't, it's the
Yeah.
same thing we've been talking about, but to me,
Yeah.
talking about it, I'm just bypassing something that's really important for my growth, my continued growth.
Right.
And again, we can only bypass it for so long
Right.
because it just has to get done. And we may never heal from something, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
our higher self or whoever is really trying to get us to, trying to
Yeah,
get us
I
to
think
see
our
it.
awareness as a collective is really shifting.
I do too. Yeah.
When that was first identified, I think it was back in the 80s, it was coined a term. And it's really been, yeah, you hear it, I hear it a lot.
Yeah.
And so that awareness is increasing. And yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
shifting.
And it's hard work, isn't it? It's kind of hard
It is
work.
hard work. Oh my
And so,
gosh.
yeah, I'll
It's
share
much
share
easier.
a little bit
Yeah.
about how you said, I knew it wasn't all one time. You didn't sit down one day and go, well, I'm shifting this, I'm going to change this. And you hit on it a little bit, but what were some of the practices that
Yeah.
you used or some of the awarenesses that you had that supported you in that?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say it is ongoing.
Uh-huh.
It's never a once and done, and different layers, of these old beliefs continue to pop up for healing and yeah, and acceptance. So, my practices, I have a whole toolbox, and it kind of depends on the day and what I'm feeling called to. So generally, it's meditation. So sitting in that quiet space. If I've been triggered, for example, I'm gonna first sit with it and you know try to step back, take two
Mhm.
steps back away, and pause before I react, which is really hard and takes a lot of strength to do. But to step back and often it's our little one, our little girl or boy that has been hurt, has been that old wound has been hit. And so it's always a great I see it, it's like, oh, now, and I'm not perfect. But ideally I see that as an opportunity, like, oh, thank you, I can look at this. I have the resources to look at this. So feeling the feelings, feeling the trigger, and then addressing with your little girl, your inner child, and turning to her. And I'll do that whether in my journal or in meditation, or really like when it's really like my husband and I might have like a big blow up. We don't have them very often. But we know enough now on our couples journey that when we need to separate. And so I can remember one time I went up into my bed in the dark, quiet, and I just curled up, and in my mind's eye, I was with my little Karen, and just like, just reassuring her that she's safe and well, and then giving her the permission to stay in the bedroom, So it was my adult. Then when I took care of her, I could come and address my husband from my adult self, my adult
Mhm.
Karen, my aware ego, it's called. And then I'm better able to respond and not,
Instead of react. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it's coming back to my inner space and by myself and back in my journal or meditation and looking at what that wound really is, what the belief of it is that was so hurt, and just
Mm.
inquiring on it, where does this come from? What, how is it showing up? What does it need? What does that part of me need? What does my little Karen need, next time? Yeah.
And you go back to the friendly, continue
Friendly,
to forget that
friendly,
second word,
friendly kindness.
friendly kindness. But you're treating little Karen like a
Yeah,
good friend because that's what you would do with a good friend. We would never tell a
exactly.
good friend,
Yeah.
oh, just get over it, or
Yeah.
or you haven't figured that out yet. We would
Right.
never say that to a good friend. So the
Right.
friendly kindness is really so
Yeah.
beautiful to put to ourselves. I really love that.
Yeah. And that, that's like when the groove is really deep, by the level of reaction or the level
Yeah.
of emotion, you know, that is arising. So when you're in that, like, know that and trust that this will take time. Don't expect it to shift overnight. So having that trust and the patience, yeah, along with the the friendly kindness.
Yeah. Now, remember back in the no, I guess it was the mid 90s, going to someone who specialized in inner child work.
Mm,
And I knew somebody who went, they had some good results. And oh gosh, I know it took me 4 sessions to even relax enough to do anything that he was asking me to do because
yeah.
I found it so distasteful. I don't know if that makes sense or not. That like I could not emote. I could not, like let out what was in there because it's like, everything, I grew up very proper. Everything was very proper in my family. So you didn't
Yeah.
do that after a
Yeah.
certain age. You didn't do outbursts. You didn't show your anger.
Right. We
And
have
so to
similar
just,
backgrounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
to just
Childhood.
show that to a stranger, it was like, oh, and it did help me. I finally got, but it wasn't the best work that I did. I did other work that I thought was much more effective for me. But I just remember just not even wanting to go. I canceled more than one appointment because it was like, I can't do that. I can't. It doesn't feel, it was just so
The
wrong.
resistance.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
huge.
I can so relate to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Really in the journey. Yeah. The resistance. Yeah, is real. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is such important work because, you're talking about your journey with your husband, and I can relate to that in such a big way because we rarely have, I couldn't even call it a blow up, but it might be where we raise our voices or disagree on something. And then,
Mhm.
we'll go to our separate corners and one of
Mhm.
us will decide when it's time to come back and say what was going on, what was really going on or
Right.
apologize. because this is what was really going on. I really, I wasn't very skillful at what I just did, that sort of thing. So it really can impact all of our relationships. But most importantly, for me, the relationship with myself, because it is very peace inducing, isn't it? To
Yeah.
be able to have that tool or those tools that you talk about to go
Yeah.
back to that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit more about you and how people can get in touch with you. And if you have anything coming up you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, you bet. So, what we talked about today was just an example of the depth of the work that I do with my
Mhm.
coaching clients and the women in my circles. And so, I love to explore with other women, such as like, in relationship when they're triggered and what is the opportunity there. So, but my work is, it's it's what the client wants, I meet them where they start, where they are, and build that trusting relationship. And it varies, by person, how
Mhm.
long that takes. So I really honor that and the path that they're on. But my work also is, that's the coaching, and it's all about personal growth and exploring the depths of who we are. I help women who feel disconnected from themselves. They've been putting, others' needs above their own for a very long time, or maybe they were doing it and then life got in the way and others' demands, and they want to get back, or they're in the middle of a transition, of anticipating retirement or just starting retirement, so forth, maybe a big loss in their life. So I'd love to hold that sacred space. My spaces, whether one on one or in groups or circles, are really supportive and compassionate. They're gentle yet really powerful. Yeah, and what I'm doing, the next evolution of my business, it's evolving, and I'm still visioning it and getting clear on it as spirit, the universe, is showing me. I'm moving into another aspect of my business, which will be right now mentoring women who want to learn how to hold this kind of space in
Mhm.
a circle. Jenny. And yeah, so it's helping women create their own circle of women. And it's will typically be a woman, but not only who is already has a business, such as myself, a coach or healer or therapist, and they want to add this as another healing modality
Mhm.
to help their community. And they're small, they're intimate, but to build a more meaningful connections. And we have talked about this before, Jenny, about sisterhood and just how much women are longing for this sense of belonging, that they are in a space where they know they belong, that they're accepted however they show up, whatever they bring. So, yeah, so that's where I'm going. And
Wow.
I'll have a book coming. I have the
I was going to ask you
manuscript.
about your book. How's that going?
Yeah, it's not ready to birth yet.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's evolving. So as I evolve and
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I've never written an entire book. I've written chapters
Yeah.
in the books, but I've always wondered, like, how do you know when it's done, right?
I know. I
There's
know.
so many.
I feel like I'll know.
Yeah, you
I'll
will.
know. And this isn't what I perceived as this isn't quite the time yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm offering is a couple things. I'm offering what I call a visioning session, get clear on your life. And I'm offering this at a really nominal cost. It's not my usual coaching rate. I believe in this so much, and I've been talking about it in the community. If you've been to a meeting, just the importance and the impact I've experienced it for myself. We I shared a little bit today, just how important it is when we have a plethora of ideas or a change or something. How important it is to take a step back, a pause out of your life, and especially in a really tight container like I hold, to allow that access to the inner wisdom and to the body and to your energy to come forth to then inform you and anchor you into that, whatever that is, that desire or project. So I'm offering that. And I do seasonal circles based on the wheel of the year. And we have autumn equinox coming up. So I'm doing this virtually. I haven't done a
Oh,
virtual one in some time. Usually they're in my backyard in person. And so I'm doing this one virtual on September 18th at 7 p.m. And it'll be a really, of course, that's what I do, a sacred space.
mhm.
And we'll do some ritual around the season that you can do, from your room that you're zooming in from. And we'll have guided meditation and journaling, so some real soul stirring prompts and intimate sharing. And the theme is about balance. Equinox is the balance of day and night. And so we're going to use that to look at our own imbalances within ourselves and our daily life. So
Sounds delicious.
September. You're welcome to come, Jenny.
I know. I have to look that up and see if I can be there. I do want to let our viewers know that I'm going to ask you, Karen, after we get off this call, would you send me the details on your visioning and
Sure.
how people can get more
I'll put
information?
the
And by
link
the
in it.
time you all are watching this, it should be in the text of this video. Karen's website is in the text of this video. And is that all on your website as well, or do they have to do something different
They
to
need
find?
the link, the special link for the
Okay,
visioning.
okay. So we'll get that. So Karen, anything else you want us to know about this topic? Like, leave us with a final thought.
Mm, mm. I I just like want to celebrate each and every woman who is out there and taking the smallest steps,
Mm,
like towards coming back into themselves, coming home to themselves. And there's a lot out there bombarding us that really pull us away. So I feel, if we can take and do it for each other too, other women, but really celebrate and honor, every small step that we're taking, every, you know, little thing that we're doing for ourselves that brings us in connection. Because that's
yes.
where it starts. I feel like our own inner work, our inner healing is heal- ultimately healing the world.
Oh, I so agree with you. And, you
Mhm.
know, the Dalai Lama said a number of years ago that the world will be saved by the Western woman. There's a whole long, big paragraph of everything that he said, and it was quite lovely.
Mm,
But we can't do any of that if we're still in that sort of in between space, I guess.
mm,
We can. So I like to say to women who don't like to see themselves as selfish, because the selfish word has gotten co-opted,
mm,
and self-care is never selfish. It's always very selfless because we're doing it in ways that then we can affect other people, our families, and the extended whatever out there. And so if you want to make your own unique difference on the planet, it's very selfless to do that work, I think, you know, and because we do have to at least be in that healing process. Like Karen said, we're never healed, we're never done. But we can make an impact and we so need it. We so need it.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
there's a lot of shifting and changing going on out there. And I know I want to be part of it. I want to be
Yeah.
part of it. I saw a post I did on Facebook like 8 years ago or so, and it said something like, um, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget it now. But it was something like, a change is a coming and I'm going to be on the train, something like that. It was much more impactful than that. So just know that you're not alone out there because there's a whole bunch of us doing this work, being in this space, and reach out and find some sisters, check with Karen and get some support. And I was trying to remember the name. I've got in this my little pile of books here somewhere. I've got is it Jean Shinoda Boland, I think, the book
Yes,
on
yes, I love
circles,
her.
on
The
women's
Millionth
circles.
Circle.
Yes, I got that a couple of years ago just to see
Oh,
if there
that
was
was my
anything else
first
I
book
wanted to do
on.
around that. It was her first
Yeah,
book. Yep, I've been following her for many years. So,
yeah. Well,
okay, Karen.
I do want to plug in if any of you, the viewers out there, are interested at all in starting your own circle. Just yeah, send me an email and we'll
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, because I don't do circles per se, but we do circles really. We just don't
Yeah,
call them that, and they're
there's
tied
many
in with other
formats.
things.
Yeah,
And that's how we heal too, by bringing those gifts to other people, I think. I believe that. And so when you're in communion with other women,
yeah,
it's just magical and beautiful. So
yeah, magic.
I can't say enough about that. So Karen, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us. I really appreciate you.
Oh,
And I love the contributions you make to On Purpose Woman and to our meetings and to just by being you. Thank you so much.
oh, thank you. I'm receiving that. Thank you. And I'm same to you as well. Just amazing what you do
Thank you.
here, the work you
Thank you.
put out into the world. Yeah, thank you.
And I want to thank anyone's watching this either live or on our YouTube channel. For more information on the On Purpose Woman Global Community and Magazine, please click on the links in this video and be sure to check out Karen's website for all that she offers. And for more interviews with amazing women living their lives on purpose, check out our YouTube channel. Also, the link is in the text of this video. Thanks for watching.